I know it's been a while, but things have just been mad. Busy with stuff, and I haven't got near any of my own cars. So, and the stuff I have been in has been routine stuff, nothing really out of the ordinary. So, didn't really feel about doing any videos on it. But today is a bit different. We have we ZR diesel in today. Customers been waiting on it for a while now. Basically, it's got the usual mods. It's got the SCI injectors. It's got boost increased and a remap. And obviously your air and exhaust, and car goes well. I think it made about 160 brake on the dyno to 60 foot-pound. So pretty good going car for an L series. But as most of the customers I find, once you get the bug, you want to get more. So it's decided to go turbo route, increase the size of the turbo. So that's why it's here. A few other bits and pieces of doing to it as well, but yeah, this is the main reason why it's here. So I thought I'll do a video on the change. I know there's been a few have done it over the years, including myself. But this, at the minute, has come to like the template of what we do now, and I'll run through shortly why we do it. So, just to show you for a start, this is the standard turbo here on the left. It's GT1549, and as you can see, it's let me show you here. It's quite small. The exhaust side is usually the issue. It's very small wheel and housing. Intake side also isn't very big, and that's why we struggle to get any power out of them. Also, because of the small exhaust side, it can cause a bit of a build-up of pressure, and basically can't get rid of the gases quick enough. So you get a build-up here, and it transfers back into the manifold and then into the cylinder head. People have reported problems with EMP, exhaust manifold pressure, where it's far too high, and then it transfers back into the cylinder head and causes issues with heads, etc. So that's the standard one. They do change. The older ones had different wheels, different exhaust housing. The later ones are referred to as a 1549S in some of them, and that's because of the different wheels, and they are meant to be slightly different compressor wheels as well. So, so I'll move on. This is the new one. So this is a 2056, and this is found on Renault Nissan's 2.5 litre engines. The reason we go for these is, firstly, it's a good size. It's a 56mm compressor wheel. It is a wastegated turbo. There's no variable V, no VNT to worry about, and it is a good orientation for the exhaust side. So we can able to fit adapter plates and make the downpipe fit properly. Also, the intake is a nice shape, so we can fit on the pipes and get everything connected up that way. So the customer, lucky for me, the customer's sorted most of the stuff. He's given me a lot of, you can see here, he's given me a lot of pipes and stuff to be able to fit things up. So I'm hoping, I've already measured things up. I was able to get everything not too far away. Because we're doing it this way, we're trying to keep everything tight to the manifold. So we've got no space here between the manifold and the turbo flange. So because of that, we don't have too much issues with oil stuff and bulkhead clearance. The main issue with these upgrades is the bulkhead. So in a ZR application, it's very, very tight to the bulkhead and front subframe. That's where you run into issues that way. The 45 ZSs are not too bad. They have maybe an extra 6 inches, so you can fit a lot easier. The way we've done this is we've used like a clamping style. So you can see here, it's basically just clamped across and a bolt through and a spacer. This side we just drilled through and there's a bolt just straight through. So that's very secure. The only issue is I'm not too sure if this is going to hold up to the heat and stress, but we'll soon find out. The only other option you have is putting some kind of adapter plate in here. So you adapt this flange to that flange, but that means you push the turbo away from the manifold and thus away from the engine, and then you run into issues with clearances. The way this sits at the minute, we can use the original oil feed and drain. It actually lines up quite well. Once you get the core clocked properly, which is quite easy to do, you can get it to line up and it just about fits. It's very close, but it just about fits. You can obviously go custom, change the piping, but the oil return is usually the issue. The standard piping, you can't really modify it. It's very, very thin tin, and getting an adapter in to go into the block is quite hard. It's a bit of a weird thread. Getting something made is obviously not going to be cheap either, but you could go down that route. You could go down to custom adapters and join it with just oil piping. That could be an option. And then you have a feed to worry about. You have to probably get a custom line made up for your oil feed. And again, that's all money. So if you want to do it this way and try and keep everything tight, then you can use those existing original lines. I've seen a few guys welding the turbo on to the manifold. Feeler, maybe not this turbo, but other turbos. The main reason we don't see that a lot is because the original manifold is obviously cast, so it's very hard to get a weld to hold the cast. And then you've got the weight. You have to remember you've always got the weight of the turbo hanging off it as well. And obviously moving inside the car, so you have to be careful that way. This is why we try and go down the adapter route and do it that way. So that's the main differences. You've obviously got the original turbo, I'm guessing, has some kind of remote wastegate actuator. So you need to mount the actuator across and get it to mount onto the compressor housing bolts. This is a custom bracket, customer made, got made. So lucky enough for me, it's all done. I just had to move it about a bit. The other thing is the boost feeds. The original turbo does not have any feeds because I'm guessing it uses feeds at the intake manifold straight to the map sensor. So you're better getting these drilled and tapped and fitting these, and then you can use that to control your boost. Now the second one here, you don't actually need, well, you do need that, but you can put that anywhere. It doesn't have to be at the turbo. That is basically just a feed for your map sensor. So you can tee off this, or you can make another feed. You can actually have that anywhere. So you can have that in the nuclear pipes, on the intake manifold, anywhere at all, and that will give you a true boost reading that your ECU will use. Um, I actually, the last couple that I've done, we've actually put two in. So you've got one of the turbo and you've got one at the intake manifold, and that means that you get a comparison of boost, so you know if there's any leaks anywhere, any intercooler pipe is leaking, because usually anybody who's doing this has got custom front mount setup, and it's very easy to get leaks. The intercoolers themselves can leak, so you need to be very careful that way. Your manifold gaskets can leak, so it's nice to have a comparison. Even if you had one, if you one connected to the map sensor and one connected to a boost gauge, you can compare the two through OBD, and you can see if you're losing, if you're losing anything over 2-3 psi, it's probably a leak somewhere, and it's something you'd have to look at. A lot of people come here and say they're boosting a certain amount, but then you're only reading that from the turbo. You could have leaks elsewhere, and that's usually the issue. So, like say that's maxing, you're maxing about 160, 165, 170 to push, depending on what boost pressure you're running. If you're running a lot of boost, you're going to probably blow this up or blow your engine up. It's either or. It's never going to be a long-term thing. So the theory is with a bigger turbo, you can run less boost and still gain more power. That's because you have more volume. But it's all theories. Well, I have done this conversion before. We made 183, 84 brake and over to 90 foot-pound. So you're going to gain that 20, 25 brake and 30, 40 foot-pound. So that's something you have to think about. It's a lot of work for that power, but two of them drive, completely different. This obviously comes in later. With being a bigger turbo, you've got a bit of lag to deal with. Now it's not big lag. It's actually, I said, very similar to a modern car. It's the standard turbo is because it's very small. You get a very fast boost. You get very fast spill, and you're never going to get that back. It doesn't matter, even if you go VNT. I wouldn't think you're going to get that back. It's because it's a very responsive setup. But this, I believe, we had about maximum torque was around 2800 RPM, but it was a very gradual torque curve, so it's still very drivable. You still got plenty of torque, and you've also got obviously the extra power. Now, when you start adding extra power to a ZR, to any of the range, you have to think about clutch, gearbox long term, and probably brakes. That's the three main things to worry about. Clutch, you've got a few options. Standard clutch won't cut it. Brand new one might for short term, but as soon as you ramp things up, you're going to run into issues. So there is a few companies out there that supply clutches for us, which is CG, which is the main one. That's what's in this car. I have a different one. I have a Kevlar one in my car, but it would be it's an older school version, and it would be very motorsport based. But the clutch in this car is very drivable. It's near like standard. I believe it's stage 2. It's the half organic, half standard, if you know what I mean, with an upgraded pressure plate. So it gives you best of both worlds. And he's also did the gearbox. The gearbox, long term, probably your diff bearings are going to give you bother. So you can go for steel cage bearings. You can put differentials in. There is a few rubber ones, Type A, Type B, that come in the turbo petrol cars, and a few other things, as long as PG1. and then you've got the option of Freelander final drive, which makes all the gears longer. So 1 to 5 is longer. For example, fifth gear, 70, 80 miles an hour, you're dropping 250, 300 RPM. So it might not sound like a lot, but when you drive the car, it's a huge difference. It makes the car a lot more pleasant on motorway driving and higher speeds. It means you're not revving as much. The car standard feel like they should have a sixth gear. That's what I find anyway. They're very short, so that sort of takes that out of it, and makes it far better. And then brakes, everybody probably knows anyway, but the 160 range, VA6 range, they have the 282 vented discs and pads, calipers, carriers. Very good upgrade. Just watch your bias between front and rear, depending on what rear brakes you fit. You're better fitting the same rear brakes that the car originally had in the front. So, and the 600 Ti have the same size of this 282, but their pads and calipers are slightly bigger. You have bigger surface area, a bit better brakes. They're not a massive difference between them, but if you can get Ti ones, go for Ti ones, because they are pretty much the best you can get standard wise in the range. Of course, you have the options of the Brembo kits, the Peugeot calipers. You've got TF4 pots, and from the Brembo range. If you can get it to fit, there'll be engineering involved. You'll have to get discs to fit. So my suggestion is stick to standard. Everything fits. It's a lot easier. Even the TF4 pots don't fit. You have to make up custom carrier mounts for them. So that's about it. I'm hoping to get the car finished the next couple of days, get some tuning done, and possibly see it in the dyno. We'll hopefully maybe get some videos up. I hope the car goes well. I hope everything goes in and fits. The downpipe is going to be tight. We're using a 400 SD downpipe because of matching this downpipe elbow. This elbow is a 400 SD elbow, and gets you into the angles around the subframe, front subframe. It's very close. That's the only problem. You have to be very careful with clearance to the front subframe. So that is the main issue with that. But I'm hoping to get the downpipe to fit. Or not, we're going to have to go custom with that. But hopefully nothing else will need custom. Hopefully everything else will fit. And anybody out there wants to do it, don't be scared, but give yourself plenty of prep time. Get everything done off the car, ready to go, because you don't want the car lying in bits. So have everything sitting, get as much as you can made up and customized, plenty of options with pipes and silicon joiners, and go from there. It's definitely it's worthwhile upgrade. It depends really. You need to work on your budget and what power you want to get out of the car. That's your main problem. If you're looking sky high numbers, then this is maybe not it's maybe not big enough for you. You need to go something bigger. But if you want 180, 190, 200 brake, this will probably do your job. You probably need to look at injector options, but the STI injector should get you to that 180, 185 mark, depending on how good your pump is. So, yeah, stay tuned. Any comments, please? Any questions, please bring them forward. Any comments, anything you want to see, just let me know. I'll do my best to do that. So, catch you later, guys.